Are Roblox games doomed? Now, you've heard me mention before Roblox games have a huge problem. And earlier this year, I made a video called Roblox Games in 2024. There we talked about 2024 potentially being the start of the golden age and highlighted some of the games that were believed to bring something new to the table and spice up the Roblox scene a little bit with new concepts and new engaging gameplay. And more recently, I brought to you guys a top 10 video highlighting some games that are confirmed to come out this year. Now, what you guys got to remember is I did say 2024 in the title, but I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these games that are meant to come out are not coming out in 2024. If you remember from the older video, I did say there were over 40 games confirmed to be releasing not only this year but within the next year or two, and 40 Roblox anime games is a lot. Now, do all of them have a place on the platform? Most likely not, but regardless of all that, we still have the big three, is what everybody's calling them, at least, that being Revolveragz, Real Season Pocket Anime. Yes, there are other games that are going to come on the platform and definitely make their mark, but I'm just going off what everybody else is saying, the big three, which is super glazed if you think about it. Now, me personally, I believe most of the games coming on the platform will make their mark, but there are a lot of people who are starting to doubt. Why? Well, there has been an increase in developers not telling the whole truth, scamming, blatantly lying, false advertising, and most importantly, developers not actually being able to critique their own games properly. Now, I do understand that when you've worked super hard on a game, it's easy to overlook where the game may go wrong, but developers being able to critique their own work is actually important. But we're going to delve into each topic in this video. So before we actually get into this, you guys do me a huge favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's find out whether we are actually doomed or not. Now, unfortunately, scamming has always been prevalent on the Roblox platform, and there's been many examples of this over the years. I'm not gonna lie to you, even just recently, there was a Jujutsu Infinite scam. Hold on. I know you guys heard Jujutsu Infinite and thought, wait, Jujutsu Infinite scamming people now? No. There are people using Jujutsu Infinite's name in order to get Robux off of, well, let's call them clueless individuals. Yes, it's not their, well, it kind of is their fault they gotten scammed, but at the same time, they are victims. And though it's kind of their fault for falling for something so blatantly obvious, it's not their fault because they're victims. Now, it's pretty obvious to know if Jujutsu Infinite actually released, especially for paid access, the developers would have said something on their Discord server. Not only that, YouTubers would have been covering Jujutsu Infinite's release. So I don't know how these guys fell for this. They must have typed in Jujutsu Infinite on Roblox and saw this and then bought it. First of all, it is kind of not their fault to a certain extent, because why is Roblox promoting a fake Jujutsu Infinite? Like, it shouldn't be the first game that pops up. Second of all, how did these guys even catch wind of this? Did they just type in Jujutsu Infinite on Roblox randomly and see this? I just don't get it. I don't know how naive some of you guys can be. Again, I'm not trying to bash the victims, but there's a sense of stupidity. There should be common sense here, and I don't think common sense is being applied. I digress. People have been falling for scams on the Roblox platform for years. Remember that Bleach game that made people buy Tester even though there was no credible sneaks or gameplay for the game? And when the game finally came out, it was just one huge base plate with moves not even working properly. I think it was called Bleach Primera, don't quote me, but I remember that being a really big deal at the time. Yeah, again, you can hold accountability to the victims because Roblox players will see and hear absolutely nothing and still fall for these scams. And in 2024 alone, there's been at least 5 scams that I can remember happening that everyone has kind of fallen for to a certain extent. One of them being Grand Kaisen. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, at a certain point, victims just need to use common sense. Some of these things are blatantly scams, but the Roblox anime community has been so dry to the point you can dangle anything in their faces and they will fall for it. Literally. Grand Kaisen, Breach Primera, and especially this new Jujutsu Infinite scam is blatantly, it's obvious people are just desperate for good games. Even apart from the video game scams, developers on this platform scam other developers almost weekly. If you have Twitter, you see developers scamming each other all the time. Scam after scam after scam. Everybody is scamming. Now, we literally just mentioned testing, but testing is its own topic in general. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the word testing is starting to get scarier and scarier. While some games do testing right,
some games, well, not too sure if testing is another word for scamming.
I digress. I honestly think testing is leading us in the wrong direction. At first, I really didn't look at it as a problem or an issue, especially when a game is clearly high quality. However, charging obscene amounts of money for testing is starting to ruin games. Now, I'm an advocate for supporting developers make money on this platform, especially when their game not only looks high quality, but you can tell they've actually been putting hard work into it and it looks like it has potential to do well on the platform. I'm all for supporting developers. Primary example I'll put for this is Jujutsu Infinite. Speaking about Jujutsu Infinite twice, it's kind of funny, but I'm talking about the real Jujutsu Infinite, not the scam one. They started the trend that we may actually never recover from, and that's charging for tester or to play the game early. It all falls under the category of tester, so let's stick to tester. Where it was rumored they made anywhere upwards of $1 million in profit just from tester sales alone. They were literally laughing to the bank, and rightly so. They advertised the game perfectly, and this is what I mean by developers actually knowing what they're doing. They came into the scene, they put out a combat sneak that was actually kind of in depth and showed that the game has a different and unique type of combat style from what we're used to seeing, and that caught people's attention immediately. Not only that, they used the hype of JJK to actually get more of an audience interested in their game. And over time, as we've seen, Jujutsu Infinite has put out a lot of good showcases that have steered people towards their game. Again, you can clearly see the game has been worked on, you can see the game's mechanics firsthand, and you can see the game is not a base plate scam. Jujutsu Infinite did everything perfectly. But is testing really testing? Once you have tester, essentially you have full access to play the game whenever you want and can play through the whole thing from beginning to end. Now, Jujutsu Infinite has been worked on a lot. Though it is still kind of a closed access tester game, the game is eventually going to come out to the public, and as we can see, the developers have been and are working on the game actively. But in order to play the game, it's behind a paid wall that you're not actually able to pay for anymore. I'm not gonna lie, because of the whole issues that happened, but still, you still have to pay to get it. And in all honesty, I feel like there is zero reason why Jujutsu Infinite isn't out to the public as of right now. Yes, they want to polish some things up, they want to change some things, but the game is in a very playable state and they can change all of this up whilst allowing the community to play the game. That's just my opinion. I know they're not ready, the developers aren't ready, and it's the developers' game, so they can do what they want. However, I feel like the public could have been playing the game the whole time whilst it's being updated and worked on. People play the game every day. And when you compare this to how testing actually used to be, I'm gonna use Grand Peace Online for an example. Well, actually, that's probably a terrible example because Grand Peace Online testing now sucks. Let's use Project Slayers for an example. Testers for Project Slayers would go into the testing place, test out the new features and content, and usually they will find bugs and give the developers feedback, and the developers will not only fix those bugs but add and change content over the time space of when testing is open in order to make the content better for public release. And testers outside of content creators would actually be handpicked by the developers or just higher up admin. so most of the testers were actually trusted people of the community. However, nowadays testing is buying access to either play a game early or just buying access to have that access, because you never really get to play the game early because the game takes forever to actually start its testing phase. And I'm not gonna lie to you, obviously developers have their reasons for doing what they're doing, whether it's goodwill or not, but I'm not too sure if the testing word is genuine anymore, and that kind of leads to problems with Roblox game, because waiting months, if not years, to test a game you've paid for just to find out the game is not good, subpar, or trash can actually ruin the user experience, overall making Roblox anime games a bad play. False advertising. Now this one's a bit weird. This is a weird topic because I kind of have to navigate how I speak about this one a little bit differently. But this one is a big deal. Now don't get it twisted. I know developers need to make advertisement for their game look as good as possible in order to actually draw in people's attention. But god damn, some of you guys need to be thrown in the jail cell with their keys thrown in the gutter. Anime Legends, Anime Clash, Jujutsu Kaisen, Grand Kaisen, Pixel Piece, etc. Some of these are just naming a few. I'm sure that there are many more games that I'm not actually able to think of at the moment. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is why I always say don't get hyped for games that don't show actual gameplay sneak. And what I mean by this is, yes, some of these games will have a cinematic trailer or a scripted trailer where you see people running in a line all together, where somebody on Discord is saying 3, 2, 1, go, and they all run in sync to a certain location, and you see scenery and you see a lot of the map. If it's not actual gameplay sneaks, again, I'm gonna use Jujutsu Infinite because I've already talked about it. Jujutsu Infinite was actual gameplay sneaks. You can see the game's mechanics, gameplay, features clearly. Whereas a game like Anime Legends, that ended up actually kind of being a scam, and to a certain extent, was a cinematic trailer where everything can be scripted, made to look better than it actually is. There is a clear difference between gameplay sneaks and, well, whatever the heck Anime Legends is. If a sneak, a trailer, a teaser doesn't have clear gameplay, do not fall for it. It's obvious bait. Now, don't get it twisted, Roblox anime games aren't the only games that do this. AAA games do it too. Make the sneak, the trailers look as great as they can, and then the game comes out and the gameplay is terrible or very much lackluster. Even McDonald's does it, for crying out loud. It's kind of easy to avoid getting tricked by sneaks, teasers, and trailers. But we've been scammed so many times, it should be easy to pick up on what is and what isn't. The Roblox community, I'm not gonna lie, some of you guys are genuine bots. No offense. There are 3 rules you guys need to go by here. No gameplay sneaks equals no support. No half-baked trailers that don't actually show anything but the overworld. And I mean map sneaks, people running around in the map, people fighting from an overhead look. No, we need actual gameplay sneak. And 3, if you don't hear any enthusiasm from me when I cover it, it's probably not that great. I kid you not, it's probably shit. Now, me making a video on a game and me being genuinely enthusiastic for a game are 2 different things. An example I'd like for you guys to see is when I'm talking about a game like Yahiba or Pocket Anime, and when I'm talking about a game I've obviously been paid to make video on. You're able to tell. You're able to tell. There's enthusiasm with my tone of voice and the way the video is created, and if I stream the game for any longer than an hour, if I'm able to stream the game for multiple hours, 10 hours plus, you know I actually like the game. And that's honestly about it. Overall, I do think the state of games on Roblox is kind of bad right now. The only viable game we have to play right now is Type Soul. I'm not gonna lie to you, Type Soul's kind of selling itself. A lot of the latest decision making, balancing changes, additions, etc. have been quite questionable, and I'm not gonna lie to you, grinding bosses for the new content is not fun. done, because Type Soul's PvE is terrible and always has been terrible. Grinding bosses is boring, so I'm not doing that. So if you honestly think about it, there's no games to play on the Roblox platform. 2024, well, we're more than halfway through it and we actually haven't gotten anything. I'm very sure summer is going to end and we are going to have no games to play. However, we do know that Revolveragz, Revolveragz, and Pocket Anime do plan to release this year, along with the other top 10 games in this video. Those games are all releasing this year, so if you haven't seen that video, you should probably see that video. We do have good games coming out this year, or at least they're meant to come out this year. It's hard to take developers' word for gold because hiccups do happen in development. Development isn't easy, so there is a chance these games could be delayed even if the developers have confirmed the 2024 release. And the games that have come out this year so far, well, they've either been scam games or just trash. Like, actually, I'm not gonna lie, guys, should we do a review on games that have come out this year? That'll be super interesting. Anyways, if you made it to the end, I appreciate and love you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me know what you guys think down below. Is 2024 cooked? Are Roblox anime games cooked? Honestly, what's going on in this community?